Hey guys, welcome to Big Loss Official. Today's guest is another legend of strongman, a legend of powerlifting, and just an awesome human being, the one and only Nick Best. Thank you for coming on, buddy.
Oh, thanks for having me, Lance. It's been too long. It's good to see your face.
It has. It's been way too long because we had a period of competing against each other all the time. And obviously right now we've not been able to go to contests. It's all been training from home, and you've had a few injuries. I think you had a surgery on your elbows recently.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago I got my elbows fixed.
How are they feeling?
Yeah. Really well, actually. I'm able to hold on to deadlift bar already, so that's good. Pressing, I did bench for the first time today, and I did 120 kilos for a set of 10. So nice. Just kind of easing my way back into it.
Yeah, you're looking fantastic. I'm loving this beard. It's suiting you.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're looking good, man.
Like I can grow it now that I don't have a real job. So
see, you're not working anymore.
My regular job is gone. After the TV show, picked up a good Instagram following, and between the money from the TV show and the money I make from Instagram and all that other stuff, don't have to do a full-time job anymore.
That's amazing. I'm so pleased to hear that. That's brilliant, because that's what you know as well as me. Money in strongman isn't great. It's
no.
It's improving, but now with certain opportunities that guys are getting, things are getting better. I mean, you and me have done this sport a long time. I mean, well, I'll tell you what, take us back to when you started lifting, because you were the world powerlifting champion way before you ever got into strongman, weren't you?
Yeah. I started lifting weights in 1984.
Just to put that into perspective, I was born in 1982.
So I started lifting when you were 2.
Yeah.
And I got into powerlifting. I won the Nevada State Championships in 1986. Went to college, played football, got out of college, won the California State Championships in the 220 class in 91, and then won from 6 years in a row. From 1994 till 1999, I won the 275-pound class and overall best lifter in the state of California. I was national champion in 96 and 97 and world champion in 96 and
97. So, when did you start strongman?
2004. I did a contest at March Air Force Base just to see. It looked fun. I went out and watched a contest at UNLV that Mark Philippi put on. And I watched Carl Gillingham and Phil Pfister and John Anderson and Grant Higa do the contest. And I was like, wow, this looks like a lot of fun. And Dylan looks at me and he's like, Dad, you're pretty strong. You should do this. You'll be good at it. It'll be fun. I'm like, you're right, kid. And from that point on, I got my pro card in 2005, did IFSA Worlds in 2006 and 2007. I made the finals in 2006. I missed the finals by a point in 2007. And then it took me from 2008 to 2010 to get into World's Strongest Man.
And I think you've done, was it 8 World's Strongest Man contests?
9.
So
9. Last year was the first one I missed.
That's an incredible career, because I mean, I had Mark Felix on, and you two, you're the two timeless guys in strongman. You know, you're both. It's amazing that you can keep going, because I'm late 30s now, and my body's feeling beaten up. You know, I've had a number of injuries. I know you have as well, and I got to admire you guys to be able to keep going. But Mark started training quite late, whereas you've been competing in lifting sports for, nearly 4 decades?
4 decades, yeah. I started in the 80s.
That's absolutely incredible. What's the secret then to being able to have such a long career? Because there's really not many guys that can say they've been lifting at such a high level for that amount of time.
You really got to learn how to read your body. And I mean, you push in training, you push hard in training, but you don't push over the limit in training. You come into a contest, and that's where you let it all go. If you get hurt in a contest, you get hurt in a contest. You've been there, I've been there. That's where you lay it all out. But you try not to get hurt ever in training. And I mean, it still happens, but if you read your body really well, you're never going to get a serious injury in training. And that's what makes the difference. I mean, consistency, the longer you go without getting injured, yet you're training intently, you're going to keep making slow, methodical gains over the years. And as I get older, the thing I have to work on the most is my mobility, because my tendon and connective tissue strength has gotten stronger. I can actually handle more workloads, more weight. It's just the you lose your elasticity, so you really have to work on stretching. Which I started doing jujitsu, so that's helped quite a bit with that.
Are you still doing that now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I had to take a couple weeks off because of the surgery.
Of course.
But I'll be back at it in about a week or two.
So what was the surgery that you had recently?
So I got both my elbows cleaned out arthroscopically, which apparently they had to use ones for people's knees and for their admins to work my elbows because I guess they're kind of large. But they took out, I had a 2 centimeter stone in one of them, and then a 1.4 in this one, and then in my left one, I had a 1.6 centimeter and 1.4 centimeter stones, just like bone chips floating around in there. And then I had a couple of spurs that they actually knocked off and took out as well.
Okay.
Then they cleaned them out. Yeah. So they feel it hurt less after the surgery. Wow. With the incisions and everything than before I even went into the surgery. My elbows feel so much better now. And my range of motion is I probably got an extra 2 inches of extension out of my arms now.
Really? Because that's been an issue for you, especially with the overhead kind of stuff in the past.
Yeah, everybody gives me shit because I can't lock out my elbow. And so this right here is a good 2, because I was going to here. So now I'm here, and I'm still going through rehab and therapy and stuff, and we're working on getting, because now it's the muscle. The muscle is shortened over the time, so now it's the muscle that's restraining it, not the joint anymore.
Okay. Well, it's interesting because I had Jamie Reeves on. He's a former World's Strongest Man winner from the UK, and he was talking about how important for longevity, the suppleness is. All of us that train, we sort of become quite rigid, don't we, as we get older? Mm-hmm. And if you're not working that side of things, that's when a lot of these injuries happen. So it's interesting to hear you say the same, and your kind of method of just slowly progressing rather than say, I mean, we've both seen some incredible youngsters come and go in the sport while we've been doing it. They come in like a bull in a china shop. They do amazing for a year or two, and then they sort of drift off. And it's being able to steadily keep progressing and not rush things that's important. Because it's hilarious. I remember watching some of these youngsters that they were younger than I was, and they were at World's Strongest Man. And I was thinking, I'm past it. I'm never going to be any good. And this is me, probably early 20s, thinking this. It's ridiculous looking back at it now, but you do. Just in case there is any youngsters out there watching, and you see the likes of maybe a Luke Richardson or someone like that who's 22, 23 years old, lifting 900 plus pounds reps, incredible.
Like 25 on a deadlift for reps,
But everyone develops at a different rate. It doesn't mean that just because you're a little bit older and not quite at that level at the moment, it doesn't mean you can't keep progressing and get better and better and better. You look at Zydrunas. He's a great example of someone that just got better and better and better at an older age. Yourself, Mark Felix, even myself. I was never like the youngster that just came on the scene. I just kept improving, kept chipping at it, being stubborn and persistent and not going away. Yeah. That's how you get results.
To stop.
Well, we've had a number of battles, haven't we? Especially
more than
that. I can't even remember how many times we've been in the same group at Worlds.
Oh, at least four. At least four.
I think your favorite was probably 2010 when it was you and me going last event, loading on the sand, and we're both dying. I honestly, it was so hot, and it was as if the sand was just kind of like, it was like quicksand. It was just raining every single step we took. And I think there's an image of you and me at the end with like the last barrel, both of us failing to get it up, slipping down, and you just managed to pip it on and you got into the final. And it's, looking back, you know yourself, when you lose and you've been putting everything into it, it's tough. But now, when I look back, I enjoy a lot of the battles, not just with you, but with all the guys, and wins and the losses. You look back and you enjoy it all, and just enjoy the experiences that we had.
Yeah, I mean, it was a blast being there when you got fourth.
Oh, 2011. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
You beating me 2010 made me motivated. It made me go away and train even harder and prove that I did belong in the final the following year.
yeah. And you really killed it that year. You had a great year. You were really close to being on the podium that year.
Yeah, it was
Mm.
another British man that stopped me that year. He was in good shape as well.
Yeah.
But I'm very pleased with the career I've had. Obviously, I think when we're competing, we always want more. That's just
Hmm.
the nature of the type of people that we are. But I mean, let's talk about some of your best results. When do you feel you've been at your best, and what shows have you really enjoyed?
I feel probably the Fit Expo in 2010.
Yeah,
I was pretty solid that year. World's Strongest Man in 2010. I was really solid that year at Worlds as well. And I feel a little bit more experienced. I probably could have did better than I did. But I was still learning, and it was a lot of fun, and I don't regret a bit of it. I was happy where I placed in the deadlift
yeah.
that year. And if you hear a bunch of clicking, it's my dog. He's walking around the floor in here. So, um, 2017, I also had a great year just all the way around. Um, made the finals that year, got that shield carry. I was so
You
stoked about
you
that.
you are incredible at a shield carry.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
that is your event.
remember Sweden? We were in
Yes,
Sweden, and I
yeah.
went like 98.9 meters or something like that with that ISA shield, and we had to pick it from the ground.
That contest,
So,
you were in great shape for that contest. I think yourself, Brian Shaw, and me were the top three, but
yep,
you were unbelievably good at everything that day.
yeah, I was pretty on the money that day, and then that higher deadlift where we got to
Yeah.
pull like the 900 pounds from just below the knees. I mean, for whatever reason, that is like a really strong area for me.
Well, it was. I think
And
was it 900 pounds or something, and I think Brian and myself
yeah,
did about 5 or 6, and you
Brian did.
destroyed us.
Yeah, Brian did 6. You did what, like 5?
I think 5. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I came up and I got to 6, and then I got to 7. I ended up pulling 10.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, because Brian still had to go after me, and I'm thinking Brian's going to pull 20, and he stopped at 6.
Yeah. And
So
it wasn't even
I
just
was
him stopping. He was done at 6. It was just an incredible pull. It's weird. We're all strong from different areas, but that
mhm.
height really suited you.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, yeah, I really loved it. Kind of like what was it, 2012 in uh, Australia at the Giants Live show there,
Yeah.
where it did the 770-pound axle, so a 350-kilo axle. Did it for 13 reps in 60 seconds.
That's
So
just crazy.
that's a good height for me. I like it, but it's okay. I mean, there's certain events we're all just good at. Both of us are great at the yoke. Both of us are really good at the farmers a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many times we've smashed heads on that.
We
Um,
we have done
you know,
indeed.
yeah. I mean, it's and then like you, me, and RMBB in Manchester was just that was ridiculous for
Yeah.
the three of us on the yoke runs to have like 0.3 of a second between the three of us. That
Yeah.
was crazy.
That was a
So
fun show, that one.
yeah, that was a fun show. Yeah, I had a ball in that. That was kind of like my what you call it when the things you there was a movie about it, kind of like on your things to do list before you die,
Oh yeah,
on
yeah,
your
yeah,
bucket list.
yeah,
Bucket list.
yeah. Bucket list. Yep.
I just
So
got
you
done
wanted to do
training, so it's
you
hard
wanted
to
to
think.
do no. You wanted to do one of the big shows in front of the UK audience because
Yeah, and
the
going
fans
out
over
in front
here.
of a
Sorry, though, I
sold
just
out
said the fans
Manchester
over here are
Arena.
incredible.
Yeah, they're amazing. I love competing in England. I mean, it is in the UK. It's just amazing. The fans just there's so many of them, and it's amazing. Like when Robbie and I were going head to head on the stones, and I had dropped that last stone, and I went after it anyway. And the roar of the crowd when I picked that off the ground is something I'll never forget. And Robbie's like sitting there yelling at me, "You better get that damn stone!" I'm like, "It's going up. Don't worry." And I put it up there, but just the roar of that crowd when it did that is something I will never forget
Yeah, it
ever.
is.
I mean, I'll remember that till the day I die.
It's one of the most amazing experiences competing in front of 12, 10, 12,000 people, genuine strongman fans as well. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we do a lot of shows particularly in the early days, it's just, oh, look at those big guys over there. Let's go and see what they're doing. Whereas now the huge shows that we do, they're genuine fans. They follow us in all the shows that we do. You know, tell me about the TV show that you guys did, the on the History Channel, because that's been really big for Strongman.
The Strongest Man in History?
Yes.
Is what the TV show is called. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. It was it was crazy, the camaraderie we had, and just kind of like the banter, and you know, the three younger kids and then me.
I should imagine with Rob and Eddie, there was a lot of banter.
Oh my God. I really wish they would release a lot of the stuff that didn't make it, because there was that show could have been funnier than Duck Dynasty. There was so much stuff between just all of us, because Brian's kind of like the straight man out of all of us, and who's the most serious like all the time. But even the funny stuff Brian did, you know, we were in the van in Nova Scotia, and Eddie was farting in the van like all day long, just blowing us out. And they were rotten ones too.
Yeah, his farts are terrible.
And we're all eating together, so we're like watching him. We're like, "Are you eating something we don't know about? Do you have a digestive problem? You know, what's going on with you?" And finally, Brian's like, "If you fart like that again, I'm just gonna have to hit you in the head." He's like, "Well, if you do that, mate, we're gonna be fighting." He goes, "We're not gonna be fighting. I'm gonna hit you in the head. You're gonna be asleep." He goes like, "Well, when I wake up?" It was just funny to watch him. Just Brian had enough farting in the van. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I can imagine Eddie just pushing it and pushing it and pushing it.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised there was any paint left on the inside of the van, because it probably peeled it off. Like a lot of the seat belts were starting to shrivel, you know, stuff like that from all his farting. It was pretty bad.
Were all of you traveling in the same truck then, same van?
Yeah. Once we got to site, we'd be on the airplanes together. The good thing is they usually had to fly us up in business or first class because of our size, which was great.
Yeah.
Kind of ruined me for airplanes though.
Yeah.
But there were times like when we went into Cody, Wyoming, we had to fly from Denver in. We were on a smaller plane. Once we landed in Heathrow, we had to fly from Heathrow up to Scotland. We had to get in a small plane. So that's when it was really difficult, especially for Brian, because Brian really had issues finding the seats to get into where
he is such a huge man.
Oh, he's gargantuan.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, don't get me wrong, but he's a very large man.
Yeah.
And he was a good 450, 440 at that time. He was big.
Yeah. It's hard for us. I mean, what are you weighing right now?
Right now, I'm hanging at about 308 pounds, 140 kilos. Anywhere between 140 and 145. I fluctuate between the two.
Yeah. So you're a big human being. You're broad. You know, Brian is another 100, 140 pounds on top of that.
Yes. He's a whole other person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It must be hard for, you know, I've seen a documentary. Do you know Andre the Giant?
Yep.
I saw a documentary on him, and just to see the just everyday struggles that you have when you're that big. It's difficult.
You have to get a special bed, and then plus he was a wrestler, so he was traveling all the time. Where are you going to find beds to fit him? You're not.
No.
And then just to feed him, oh my God, you get food shamed every time you go to eat with the guys, because they're all eating like 2 ribeyes, 3 ribeyes, baked potatoes, and everything else, and I'm eating 1 steak and a bowl of rice, or 1 baked potato or something. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, you're gonna get skinny, and I'm like, no, I'm fine. We're good.
Those 3 are all big eaters as well.
Yeah, they can eat a lot of food.
Yeah, maybe not the 20,000 calories they try and claim they have all the time, but they do eat a lot of food. That's for sure.
They do. That's why it was always fun to win an eating challenge every once in a while. But then I was miserable for like the next day. And God knows that is even more miserable cleaning it out. So.
Did you do a number of eating challenges with them? Because I know they love them.
Yeah, I think we had like 3 or 4 total. But they got away from the amount we were eating and went into kind of speed eating. So like chicken wings, we had to eat them really fast. Crab cakes, we had to eat them really fast, which are not crab cakes. I forgot what their crabs are called. Soft shell crabs.
Yeah.
And those were the most god-awful things. I know they're expensive, and I know they're a delicacy, and I know people love them. but I can't stand them because, I mean, you bite into and you feel the crunch, and then you look in and you see the yellow center, and you're just like, this isn't right. And it kind of turns your stomach.
Yeah.
But
the problem as well, when you do like a speed eating challenge, you stop enjoying the food anyway.
Yeah, you don't enjoy the food at all. You're just pounded in. Yeah. Or if you're Robert, you just throw it over your shoulder so nobody sees it.
So what was the favorite challenge that you did on the show then? I mean, you guys went all over, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. We went to Georgia and did Paul Anderson. That was really memorable for me.
That looked really cool.
Yeah. And then
is that where you did the back lift?
Yeah, no, that's what I did, the hip lift, yeah.
Yeah.
Where we did the carousel lift, where it's basically a hip lift and you can use your arms. That was pretty memorable because his whole family was on there. His wife was on there. His daughter was on there. Her husband was on there. The grandkids were on there. So that was pretty memorable. And then to go, Robbie, Brian, and I all went over like 12 pounds, what Paul did. And then I wanted to try to go for more. So, we loaded it to 27.91 and I got it. So I was pretty happy about that. Of course, Eddie told me I didn't get it, and we got into an argument. And there's a lot of cuss words. There was that scene got cut quite a bit because there were some cuss words going back and forth from the top. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, Eddie? Sorry. And
no, you're okay.
He's like, no, mate, it just slid across. It didn't come off. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, mate. I'm like, and I was mad, and you're supposed to tell people before you go. And I was angry and didn't think because the legs were, this big around and this tall, and they were landing on a square piece of plywood that were all stacked up. Okay, so, but if we missed that, it would hit the grass and the thing would sink into the ground because it's 2,700 pounds, and there's only 4 of them. So we're supposed to let everybody know so they keep an eye on it. So when we set it down, it doesn't miss. I didn't tell anybody. I just hooked back right in, stood up my feet, and just went. And so if they would have played the whole thing out the way it actually went, it was like a little verbal stuff between me and Eddie, me being mad, just clicking it and going, and then dropping it down. And I mean, it missed the side by like this much. So that was kind of crazy.
Yeah, that was one of. I haven't seen all the shows, but I did watch that one. I remember your sort of argument with Eddie, but I think being able to go to the place where Paul Anderson kind of lived, because Paul Anderson, for those that don't know, absolute legend of strength. The stories of him. He was genuinely Olympic weightlifting champion, but some of his feats of strength in exhibition lifts were just,
were ridiculous.
Even to now,
so far out.
Yeah. If you haven't looked up Paul Anderson, make sure you do, because the guy is just, one of the greatest strength lifters of all time. He did some incredible squatting, the back lifts, the hip lifts, and a very, a world champion at Olympic lifting as well. And monstrously big legs on him. He's a huge man.
Oh, God. I mean, his legs were like 40 inches, I believe, which is massive. I mean, just massive. I mean, he was a big man and a nice man. That's the killer part about it. He was such a good person at the same time, and he did get to film movies and he get to do a lot of Hollywood stuff. But at the end of the day, he took all that and did the boys' home and did that ranch and set it up for at-risk youth. And it's still there. It's still open. It's still helping people today.
That's incredible.
And his wife, Glenda, she still lives there. So it's pretty neat to go there and see her and see all his memorabilia and be there and see the boys and see the people it's helping him. How many athletes do that today?
Yeah.
How many of these big-time soccer players or football players or baseball players, how many of those are setting up things that are still helping people, 20, 30 years after you're gone, after you've passed on? Yeah. And that's kind of one of the most amazing things about what he did.
No, it is a genuinely interesting story to read as well. Mm-hmm. When I first got into strongman, I don't know. Do you know about like the 20 rep squat routine?
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of a famous kind of training routine, and Paul Anderson was the real pioneer of that style of training. He just lots of food, milk, and squats, lots of high rep squats,
Yes.
sets of 20 rep squats. And
Right.
when I first started, that was all I was doing. That's why I had big, strong legs, and my upper body was just like, tiny. But
Yeah, your legs are huge.
well, they were.
Your
I don't know
legs
about now, but yeah, it just laid a foundation, and squats just became my favorite exercise. I know how much you're an incredible squatter as well, particularly for reps as well. You're another guy really good at squatting for reps and deadlifting for reps. To be honest, your endurance is second to none. You like all those nasty events, don't you, Nick? Anything that's really punishing, the shield carry, things that where everyone hates doing, Nick loves doing.
You have to have a lot of self-hatred to really do well at those things. You really have to not like yourself. No, actually, I've always been good at endurance stuff. When I was in college, I would either rollerblade to the college, or I would ride my bike to college. I lived like 7 miles away from the campus. And then I'd go to football practice and then class and everything else. And so I've always had a very good cardiovascular endurance. And I got tested while I was in college. And my VO2 max is like 68, which is really high. That's like long distance runner ranking as far as that goes. So I've always been good at endurance events. And it's just how it is. Very lucky.
Well, I think you've probably trained a lot as well to maximize that.
A little bit.
So what's the goals going forward? Because I mean, how old are you now? Are you 50 yet?
I'm 51.
51. Looking fantastic.
Thank you.
So you've got yourself and Mark Felix, both in their 50s, competing at World's Strongest Man. Does it annoy you that Mark is that little bit older than you? Because everyone talks about him as the old guy, or is it just nice having someone that's older?
It really does. No. Every once in a while, it really does. But I love Mark, and it's just at the end of the day, it's so much fun to see him and compete with him, and I love it when we get to do it. And I love the fact that we're both still able to do it. I still have the desire, and now that my elbows feel this much better, I'm almost reinvigorated, if that makes any sense. I went into the gym this weekend and I was ready to go. There was kind of like no having to get fired up, no having to do this. I just walked in the gym and it's like, all right, it's time to go. I feel good. Let's roll.
Yeah.
And it's good to feel that way. And I'm going to try to take another run at it. I'm going to go to a Giants live show. I was supposed to go to the one here August 15th, but that's canceled. So whenever they get that rescheduled, I'm definitely doing that. Masters is supposed to be in November, a week before Worlds. Okay. So I'll probably do Masters this year, try to get to a Giants live show and qualify for World's Strongest Man next year, unless something else happens and I manage to get an invite, then I will go. But for the most part, it's just now I'm training to get as strong as I absolutely can, get my elbows 100% healthy, and then just take another run at it and see what happens.
It's amazing talking to. I mean, I sort of officially announced my retirement. I want to focus on other things, and I'm enjoying focusing on other things. But talking to like yourself, I spoke to Travis Ortmeyer recently. That was an incredible story, and many of you guys. It's making me want to sort of do some stuff again. I want to get back in the gym and start lifting. It's so nice seeing how much you can just tell. A lot of the guys just love what they do, and anytime I speak to youngsters and they're like, "Oh, what advice can you give me?" It's like, if you want to do this sport, make sure that you enjoy it. There's no other reason to do it. If it's not fun,
the reason why you should be doing it is if you're having fun. Yeah. Because if you're not having fun, you're not going to be doing this very long.
Definitely.
You're just not. If you're not having any fun at it, find something else to do.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you, Nick. And you can really tell when you compete how much you love it. Like I said, I've shared the battlefield with you. We've had some great battles. I've won some, you've won some, but you always give 100%. You're always very good. One thing I admire about yourself is how good you are with the fans. Because let's be honest, not everyone is. In the sport,
True.
But you've always made an effort to connect with the fans, and Mark Felix is exactly the same. To be honest, he's another one that just really appreciates the effort that people go to come and watch us do what we do. And I think if you can if some of the youngsters can look up at what you've achieved, and just see the way you act as a person, then I think they'll be better people themselves.
Yeah, I mean, you try to lead by example, and as best you can. Nobody's perfect. God knows I'm not even close to being perfect.
No, none of us are perfect.
But we all try to do the best we can and set the good example. And if we don't teach the next generation, right from wrong, what's acceptable and what's not, and how you should actually conduct yourself, where are they going to learn it from? You're not going to learn it from the government. I can tell you that right now. You're not going to learn it from the TV because they're the ones that want to ruin you. And it's mentoring people and coaching them and helping them. And you never know when you're going to meet somebody. It might be the only time you ever meet them in your life. And for the most part, you want everybody to have a good experience with you. You want to leave a good impression on people. That way, 20 years from now, they still remember, and they had a pleasurable experience with you. You're not going to, the only time I'm going to be rude to somebody is if they're rude to me or they do something that's just really out of line. Other than that, I mean, life's too short to have anger or hostility towards other people.
Oh, I totally agree. Well, that being said, with you kind of, you've inspired many people, and I know now there's plenty of older athletes that are inspired. I pick up on your age, but there's people. I mean, how many messages do you get a week off guys that, I'm 34, 35? Is it too late to start strong? Because I get guys like that asking me all the time. And you see people like yourself, Felix, and many others as well. But you two are the top, tier of that example. What advice would you give those people?
Yeah, you're never too old. I mean, I started my strongman career at 36. So, I mean, you're not too old. If you want to do it, do it. Just work your way slowly and methodically into it. It's not going to be fast. Just don't expect it instant gratification thing. It's a discipline. It's a grind. It's putting the time in and adjusting everything in your life to head you in that direction. When your friends are going out drinking, you go out with them, but you're not drinking. They can drink, you can't. Because why? Because it's going to take an extra 2 days to heal, and I don't want to lose 2 days of healing because my liver's got to process out the alcohol, my kidneys, stuff like that. So everything you do, one way, shape, or form, works around getting better. And people that surround you and that you're friends with, that you keep around you, should be people that focus you in that direction. The ones that tear you away from that direction or encourage you to go otherwise or somewhere else, they become acquaintances. You never mean to or anything else, but they're not part of your everyday life. And that makes the biggest difference in everything that you do. I mean, if you want to be a doctor, you're going to surround yourself with smart kids at school, learning, studying, and doing the best you can at school. It applies to anything. So I would definitely recommend setting up their lives and doing things that way.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, with that being said, you've inspired so many people. Who
Thank
inspired you to kind of, who's been a big inspiration to you?
Strongman wise, Magnus Vera, actually. I got a lot of good stuff from him. Van Hatfield, who is a strongman in Utah, gave me a lot of help at the beginning of beginning of my career. And I really appreciate what he did. Bill Kazmaier, of course. I mean, he's Kaz.
Yeah.
He was the one that got in my head the night before we did that race on the beach, by the way.
Was it?
Almost cried that night when he was talking to me. I was just came down and
You okay?
Yeah, my thing came up and said low battery. I got 20% left, so we're good.
We won't hold you to it.
And powerlifting, of course, Eddie Cohen is everybody, but also Bull Stewart. I mean, Bull Stewart in 1994 sat me down, and I used to keep all my training in a journal, and I had it all written out. And he was sitting there giving people advice, and people were kind of acting cocky and being a jerk, so he was giving them advice, but he was giving, how would Arnold say, giving false advices. And he comes up and he's like, let me see your journal. And I gave it to him, and he goes through it, and he goes, here's what you do. And he started kind of cutting things and showing me some stuff and showing me where I was overtraining or undertraining in certain areas, and talked to me a lot about reading my body and how it felt. And I learned a lot of that from him. Yeah. And I've been very grateful for that. And those are the kind of people I've used that have inspired me, that were good influences on me.
They've obviously done a very good job, and well, I'm gonna have to have words with Kaz, obviously, but but yeah, I think a motivational chat from
he just
Kaz
gave
always
me a
works.
very motivational speech, you know.
He's got that
And
voice, hasn't he?
yeah, he does. He does. He does. Yeah. And so it was kind of like I went out in that thing, and you load the first barrel. You loaded it before I did. I was probably 5 steps behind you when I turned to run, and I was like, "Oh no!" And I remember it felt like I took 3 strides, and then remembered we're in the sand, so I hockey stopped, like you would on ice skates. And
Yeah.
I've been ice skating with Dylan because Dylan had played like 6 seasons of hockey. So I hockey stopped into the sand, managed to grab the keg and picked it up and took off before he grabbed the keg. And I was like, okay. And then I got the next 2 on, but I really ran out of gas going up with that last one, and I tore my hand open. Remember, it was bleeding all over the place?
Yeah.
And so it started getting really slippery, and I was just out of gas. And then here comes Laurence. Nice, and just moving nice and steady up the hill. When he gets it up there, it's just like bam, and I was like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!" And he's like, "Boom!" And he misses. I was like, and then I hear the whistle, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" It was just
because I got within like a fraction of getting that last barrel on, and
you hit the lip.
Yeah,
you hit the lip. You had it. If your body would have bumped it forwards, it was on, and I was just like, "Oh my god!" And I just remember trying to breathe, and I don't think I'd been in that much oxygen debt in my entire life, and my lungs were burning.
It was we were in Sun City, weren't we? And it was high altitude, so we were just dying anyway. The endurance events were just killing us. Being big, got 150, 140 kilos. What's that? 310 to 350 kind of pound guys. Most of us
350, 360. Yeah,
yeah.
It was nuts.
Yeah,
but it was so fun, and there's stuff I'll never forget from that trip. You remember the boons, like on the golf courses and stuff?
Yeah, with Irving Katona laughing at them all the time.
Yeah, the monkey.
3 monkeys. his laugh.
They broke into his room.
Yeah,
they got into his room. They got all his protein bars and stuff, and they got all the sugar from his coffee thing.
I think Metrics were the sponsors that year, weren't they? And they gave us all those kind of like doorstop protein bars.
Yeah.
And I think the monkeys had gone. He'd left his balcony door open, and the monkeys had gone into his room. He's got some pictures of it. I'm gonna have to try and get Irvin on because he's a great character.
Oh, he is. I think the craziest thing though is in Botswana, where the green mamba was going across the road right in the front, and we were coming out of the yard, and I grabbed that rake because it'd gotten run over by a car. And it's like flipping and flopping and stuff, and I'm like, wow, that's got a diamond-shaped head. I go, that's poisonous. So I grabbed the rake and I like hold it down and like finish it. I mean, it's going to die anyway.
Yeah.
But put it out of its suffering. But also, people were grabbing at its tail. Do you remember that?
Yeah, no, I do.
And people were grabbing at it, and I'm like, smash it with the rake that the gardener's just sitting here like this on. And turns out it's a green mamba. If it had bit us, we'd have been dead. I mean,
oh yeah, those things are lethal.
Yeah, so that was kind of crazy. That was probably the most insane thing.
We've been to some incredible places, really, when you think about it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I just thinking of places I've been to with you. Obviously, we've been to Sweden for the Super Series there, but I mean, Botswana was a beautiful country, especially first time we were there when we with the wildlife that got to go on. That was amazing. Where's your favorite place that you've been to that Strongman's taken you to?
Oh, it's hard to pick. I mean, I loved Australia. I loved Iceland. I mean, Iceland was out of control. I loved South Africa. Sun City was amazing.
Yeah.
And then Botswana was amazing. It's hard to pick. Malaysia was actually, where we were at, Malaysia was actually really nice too. That infinity pool where we got to look out over the city and stuff, and going to like float in the water at night and decompress was pretty cool. Didn't like the humidity there though. That was kind of sticky.
No. We often end up competing in the hottest, most humid places on earth, don't we?
Oh, China was the worst. Senya was just the most god awful. Remember they ran out of water?
Yeah.
And then Barry Frank stuck up for us and went and grabbed the water from the film crew. They had a whole pallet sitting there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there was what 3 of the wives that ended up with heat stroke that day.
Yeah.
Remember they were in the athletes tent. That was probably the hottest place. And then that truck for the truck pull.
Yeah, no.
Oh, that thing.
To be quite honest, I try and sort of forget about Sanya.
It's not moving.
Yeah, no, there was yeah. I mean, we've been to some incredible places. Not everywhere is incredible, obviously,
No.
but we have been lucky to go to.
But we've had so much fun, and then we just get to sit and talk and hang out and eat together and just mess with each other. It's like your brother on the other side of the ocean that you don't get to see that often. It's really
it's funny. My brother took me to Vegas as a wedding gift, and we were at the UFC. And the next thing I know, I see Nick. you just like, hey, how you doing? You just catch up a bit afterwards. So that was. I mean, I know you live in Vegas, but I didn't expect you to be at the fight that night.
The fight that night, yeah.
You know, we've been competing at World's Strongest Man a few months earlier, and then we just, enjoying a UFC fight. But that's the great thing with what we do. We'll always battle hard in competition, but I think 99% of the guys get on really well.
Yeah. There's like only a few. There's a couple people that don't get along, but there's not that many.
Is there any two you're thinking of that don't get on?
I think Thor and Brian, for the most part,
don't
really get along. Okay. Yeah, Thor and Brian really don't get along very well. And then Thor and Eddie don't get along too well either. I mean, they legitimately do not like each other.
Are you going to be watching the boxing between them?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's in Vegas, so I think I
will be there.
I will be there too. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. I mean, what do you think of it? The boxing between them?
I think it's going to be pretty interesting. I know Eddie did some boxing and stuff when he was younger.
Yep.
I mean, and so that's going to be interesting to see how that experience versus Thor's length and jab power. If Thor comes in with a solid jab, Eddie's going to have to figure out ways to get inside to do that, which he can do. And Eddie's also got very long arms as well. But I think for Thor's reach, if he learns how to jab and he comes in really good condition, because he's going to have to be on. If they stand flat-footed, the fight won't last that long.
Yeah.
If one of them's up on their toes, he's going to be able to sit and pick off the other one.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be it. It's going to be, can Thor be up on his toes for however many rounds they go, and jabbing and moving, as opposed to Eddie coming in and just tearing apart the inside and throwing uppercuts to, hit him in the jaw while he's doing it.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun to watch though, because one of those guys, one punch from them can kill you.
Well, so the weight that they have behind them, the power. All of us. I mean, all of us can hit hard. We've got a lot of weight behind us, but boxing is a different sport completely. I've done some. I was British champion at Kung Fu, believe it or not, many years ago. So I've got some combat experience, and just coping with the adrenaline of that situation is very different to, say, coping with a strongman competition, because we're conditioned for strongman. That pressure of however many people watching, and the adrenaline of when you're going into combat with someone else, it's a strange feeling, and it'd be interesting to see which one of them copes better, how they both. I know both of them are meticulous with what they do. They're both two of the most impressive athletes I've ever met, and two of the most determined athletes I've ever met. So
also, absolutely,
I had someone else I was talking to about this, and they're both being paid very well for this. I said to make it interesting, put the whole pot in the middle, winner takes all. Then we'd really see who wants it. Because right now,
probably see one kill the other one at that point.
Win, lose or draw at the moment, they're both going to win at the end of the day, and fair play to them. I'm really pleased to see them, doing well with that. The only thing I would say is I would like to see them bring that kind of money to Strongman. I'd love to see Thor versus Prime Eddie versus Prime Thor, head to head on a deadlift. See who's the best in the world in a competition. Those two head to head. That would be exciting for me.
Yeah, I mean, it would be the greatest thing in the world to see that kind of money behind it and doing that and seeing the guys to where once you do it, that's all you have to do. You just train and go compete and have that kind of a prize money there for being the strongest human being walking the face of the planet. Yeah, because all the comments you're reading after that, stick to strongman, stick to this, stick to that. It's like you realize the payday is 1/20th for world's strongest man.
If you win world's strongest man, you're looking at $50,000.
Right.
They'd need to win world's strongest man 20 times to make the money. Or they might be making more than we know. We know they're getting a 6-figure contract. So at least 20 world's strongest man victories to make the money they're making from a boxing match. So for anyone that's saying to them, "Oh, you're doing it for," of course they're doing it for the money. It's providing for their family. Like you would do it for your family, I'd do it for mine. I think
it's absolutely nuts not to do it. Absolutely nuts.
But
and don't blame them, either one of them at all. No. I hope both of them have a great fight, and I hope neither one of them get hurt. I like both the guys. I mean, I love both of the guys, and I love Eddie to death. I mean, I spent a lot of time with him, and I just want them to have a good fight, and both of them come out okay.
They've both got families at the end of the day. They've both got.
Personally, I think if Eddie gets inside, Eddie's going to win. I think if Thor can stay on the outside and throw a jab, Thor's going to win. So it's going to be who can counter what the other one's going to do better. I think at the end of the day, that's going to be the difference between the two. Which one can run the fight which one can get them to fight the way they want them to. And I think that's.
We'll have fun building up to it over the next year. I'm sure there'll be lots of talk about it. One thing before I let you go, I know your battery's running low. Who of the new guys impresses you these days? We've got so many good, talented youngsters. Obviously, you've kind of competed for years now. You've seen many come and go. Mm-hmm. But which of these youngsters really impresses you?
Evan really impresses me quite a bit.
Yep.
Yep. And then the kid in England. I just trained Richardson. Richardson is amazing. My only advice to Luke is, Rome's not built in a day. Take your time.
Yeah.
It's going to be there. You want it to be there for a decade, not for 2 years.
Yeah.
So just keep doing what you're doing, slow, methodical, and he'll dominate the sport for a long time. And then Kearney, he's not exactly new, but he's not exactly old. The amount of improvement that Rob keeps coming up with is sick. I think Rob can actually get the log world record. He's got it in him. It's just, when will he do it? I mean, that 475 did not look overly difficult.
It was a brilliant lift, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't go for more. I really am. I'm surprised he didn't say, throw 20 pounds on. Let's see.
Let's see if I can do it.
Yeah.
Who do you think will be the first guy then to break Zydrunas' log record?
Oh, geez.
That's a tough question, because we've got 5 or 6, 7 maybe guys that are all in contention for that.
I think if Luke prepared just a tad bit differently and maybe came in a little bit more rested and a little bit more mentally prepared to have the light on him the way it was, because it looked like he was just a smidge off his groove that day.
Yeah.
So I think he can legitimately. I think
he got so close.
I don't see why Luke in the next 5 years can't press a 520-pound log.
Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting watching how far these guys push each other now, because there's so many great athletes that are just constantly pushing and taking the sport to another level.
Oh, yeah. The 600-pound stone, and now it's, 628 or 630 something now? It's like, really? Really?
And you still want to keep doing this, Nick?
Yeah.
And you're still hanging in there. No, it's great to see. Nick, I'll let you go because I know your battery's kind of running low. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I hope we will
Absolutely.
see you at some live contests soon. If
Heck
anyone
yeah.
wants to find you, do you have an Instagram or YouTube page that they can find your stuff on?
Yeah. Just type in Nick Best on YouTube, and it'll pop up, or Nick Best Strongman, and Instagram on, Nick Best Strongman on Instagram. So it's
We
pretty
will.
simple. Try to keep it simple.
Yeah, no, we'll put a link down below. When I say we, the wife does it. I'm in front of the camera. She does the the technical stuff. But thank you for coming on, guys. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We'll have more interviews with strength legends soon, and make sure you guys follow Nick as well. Nick, take care. Keep the family safe, and I'll speak to you soon, my friend.
Thanks. You do the same. It's so good seeing you. I really miss you.
Thank you,
We
buddy.
got to do this again.
Definitely.
Okay.
Take care.
Talk
Cheers. Take care, guys. See you soon. Bye.